Forever. Okay, now it's recording. It took
All
a
right.
minute. Hi.
How you doing, Sissy Pants?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good too. I'm getting excited for you. There's so much that's going to happen with just the Stardust event, but I'm just so focused on seeing my Sissy Pants that I can't even get my brain hyped up for the rest of it. I miss you.
I miss you too. I'm excited mostly about that part. I'm not nervous about channeling this time with it.
Oh, good.
Because I already know, I mean, I've already expressed enough how much I think I'm full of shit. So if anyone still chooses to believe me, that's on you, you know?
She's having her own disclaimer.
Yeah.
So funny.
So the people
I feel more confident this time too, because last time I really wanted to just try to make it alienish. But Stardust isn't just about ET, it's about spirituality too. So I'm going to do some teaching about just, evolution, spiritual evolution and growth and stuff. So that's kind of my plan. And I feel so much more confident in myself this year. I growed.
And I really hope the recording works this time. We didn't do a test run. That's okay. We'll go on faith. Watch, it doesn't work. Watch, it freezes. And then I have to put a montage of pictures instead while we're talking.
Right.
I'll put random pictures that don't make sense. Like, I don't know, a tree or some guy looking off in the distance. I don't know. I'm going to put something funny in there.
Okay.
All right. So today we have... Sorry.
Well, I was going to segue just like you are. We talked about our experience from last year at Stardust. So this time we're going to bring in my spaceman and ask him about how he's feeling. And all his buddies are feeling about Stardust this year.
Can you call him in? Because he's not here yet.
Hang on. Hang on. You're not even going to believe what I'm showing him.
A dildo.
No, that's what I'd show myself.
Okay. I got him here. That's weird. See, because he's attached to you because he's married to you. So if I call him out, he'll come, but he'll be hesitant. He'll be like, put me on the back burner, like, wait a minute. But since you're doing it, feels like.
That was a really cool validation because really, I just want to tell people what I did so that you guys know. Avery. That was all I did.
We want to interview you for a video, and it's very last minute. Are you busy? He says no. Okay.
What are you doing?
He says taking care of our daughter. He said that, is it a day off for you? Nope. He said he was going to go to work, about to go to work. But he's just like, that's fine.
Did we save you?
Yeah, did I save you from work? He's like, yes.
Okay. Well, what were you going to do with Star Fairy? Was Grandma going to take care, or were you going to take her with you?
No, he said no.
Well, I don't know.
He helps do the maintenance on the ships. He's like, no. How would I do that? He's like thinking about holding her while he's trying to fix something. That's not how it...
Get him a baby backpack.
Yeah, you could get one of those baby backpacks to put her on your back. He said, I don't think that'd be safe.
Oh, you're a good daddy. How is she doing?
She's doing wonderful. She's what? She's fussy today. And she didn't want to be put down, so he was just cradling her. And then he said he's not now because he's about to go to work, so she eventually fell asleep. Put her in her crib and kind of quietly walked away.
Wow, it's so trippy still. Oh, thank you for taking such good care of our baby. You're such a good daddy. I know you are. Thank you.
He says thank you for saying nice things.
It's the truth. Well, so Spaceman, I'm going to see you in a couple weeks. What do you think about that?
Oh my God. He says he's really excited, but he doesn't say it like that. He's just thinking dirty things. He's just like, wait. He said, oh yeah, I'm excited about that. Like in that sexy tone. Ugh.
So Heather and I, we're curious if there's going to be some baby making going. Are there plans in the works for that? Do we have the insertion thingy in yet?
Oh God. He's saying, I, again, more sexy kind of talk. He's just saying like, I know I'm ready, go down with you. But he's talking about, he said, but Sam is really looking forward to me ovulating. I'm not going to ovulate during that time. He's hoping I will, but that's just not my time during that week. But Avery's like, oh, that's too bad. He's like felt sad for his friend. Oh well. But he said that Sam was really looking forward to it, more so than he is to make a baby with you. And he's saying if it happens, it happens. But
you guys should just try a lot just in case.
Just in case. You never know. Just in case. He says that's the fun part.
Right. Oh, okay. So what else is going on in preparation? Is there like a committee or anything? Are you guys like, baking some goods for the party?
He laughed. He said there's no committee. He says that there are a group of people that want to go. He's calling them like civilians. It's just every day. They're not part of their military. They're not part of Stardust at all. Mm-hmm. They're just curious. And he said, and they're feeling braver because it is a smaller group, but they're so used to us at this point. Okay. He said so that we feel more comfortable bringing people who are not trained to be around humans. The last event, there were so many of you, and it was so new that we only brought in people who were trained to be around humans. So mostly military, or someone who was with a human was only allowed to be out there. He's saying that this time we're having more guards out there, only to make them feel safe, but they won't go in close because they're not used to being around humans.
Well, that's interesting that they're in a way having, more confidence too, just like we are. I love that. We're all growing together. Yeah. How close do you guys get? Like I don't know.
He says the closest we'll get that we're allowed to go with clearance. Ooh, military clearance. It's like 9 miles. That's still pretty far, but they have really good eyesight, so they can still see us. He says, kind of. You look like ants, but we can see you. Okay. He says that Sam or I will get closer at night and hide behind the tall sagebrush, but there's a point where there's no more of the tall trees. If you remember out there. He said, but once there's no more of those tall trees, we can't go any further without being seen. And it said, and it's not that we're trying to not be seen. He said, we are, but it's not about trying to conceal ourselves. It's just more
safety
about
stuff.
Yeah, it's more about your protection and ours. Your protection meaning psychologically. Right. Even though or you're aware of us, your brain is not ready to perceive us just yet.
And are you going to come fetch me? Are you going to do that? How will we hook up? Are you going to, if you can only be 9 miles away, how do you come get me?
Oh my God. He's talking about like leaving treats and a bone. He's like, come on, fetch you. Bring it on. He's like, no, I'll bring a trinkle of bread. That'll
work. Making garlic knots.
Yeah, garlic. He says, I know what you like. He's saying, no, by the time everyone's asleep, that's when we come in closer, and that's when a lot of them, he's saying, we're trying to bring in more guards so they can explore around the house, around the people. He said, if they feel brave enough, only a select few will only take 1 or 3 at a time at the most. Wow. To go into the houses. But let them go through your things. He said, if you allow us to. They just want to explore through human, what you carry, to them seeing something. He's not saying this, but I'm saying this, just something average for us, like a toothbrush or something would be interesting to them.
He's going to wonder what the fuck that curling iron is for.
He was thinking like a sexual joke. Like, are you really needing a curling iron or something else? So he says, you don't need that. You only need me, baby. Oh, God.
That's true.
Stop. I don't like it. It's really uncomfortable.
Oh, we're just flirting. You're just our flirt phone.
Oh, God.
Okay, so, gosh, I want you to, like, accidentally leave, like, a big shoe print for me or a handprint in the sand for me. Try your best.
Okay. This is okay. He says we're really light, so it's hard for us to do.
All right, then draw on the dust. Do something. Do something.
He says mostly we float because sometimes the terrain's too rough for us. That's why they put on the floaty, the suit.
The floaty boots.
Yeah. It's not the boots. It's the whole suit. Boots are attached to it.
Okay.
It lets them float.
You froze on me. Oh, there you
go. Okay, so he has nothing else to add. He's saying that other than that, they're bringing in a pool of people who are, it makes it seem like it's a small group of civilians, like 5 of them that are ready.
Okay. Okay.
He said
what are their expectations? Do they just want to come check us out?
Yeah, he said they have no expectations. We told them what they're allowed and not allowed to do. He says that they're not allowed to be there during the day. Only at night because we can better conceal ourselves. It takes a lot of power, and I don't mean he means like actual like power, but I mean like manpower to get them over to that part of the desert safely without being seen, without one of their ships being seen. They have to be real secretive, so they try to go around the mountains as much as they can. To conceal themselves behind the ridges of the mountains. So that's why they don't like to go during the day.
Okay.
But your guys' ships are white, so, I mean...
I was going to say, I wonder how we would react to a ship. How do you think we'd freak out as much as if we just saw a ship up in the sky?
I think people would freak out in a different way. I think people would be excited. Some people would be in shock,
Yeah, but not scared. I don't know. I can say that all I want, but I haven't experienced it yet.
But they're not making any promises because they don't know how it's going to be. They have rules about how close to get, but in terms of they can't predict our behavior, so they're not going to say anything for sure is going to happen.
Okay.
Other than that, that's all they're prepared for. The civilians coming don't have any expectations. They want to come in and go through our things. That's mostly the women. They just want to go through and look at our stuff. They're really curious. Mostly the men just want to, I don't know, what do the civilian men want to do? They'd rather talk to the men that are coming, human men.
How many men are coming? I only know 1, but there might be more.
3, I think, but only 1 staying at the house.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lucky boy.
Yeah.
Lucky or brave. I'm not sure which one.
We were supposed to have 2 guys staying at the house, but 1 had to cancel. But yeah, there's only 1 staying at the house this time.
Okay, so the other thing you kind of wanted to talk about was guide me how I connected with Avery in the first place.
Oh yeah, so not a lot of people know this part of the story about you guys. They've only seen how you guys like were after the fact. I remember, I forgot how it started. I ended up talking to you about Sam. And you were wondering if there was one for you or something, like jokingly, I think.
I know.
And I was like, I'm sure there is. Sam had set it up. He set the whole thing up. He said, I have a friend who I think might be a good fit for what Carrie needs. And Sam wanted to help out his friend because Sam, Avery didn't seem happy, even though Avery was happy. And Sam was just like, you just can't be happy with like going girl to girl, To Sam, that was hard for him. He's like, deep down, you're sad. And so
I couldn't understand the Pleiadian side of him. Like, interesting. So and I was really in a place where I didn't want a relationship. I just wanted to have some fun.
Right. That's what they came in for. And Sam was like, okay, I have someone who'd be perfect for fun.
The only one in the whole base.
Yeah.
That would.
And I remember meeting Avery before he met you. We were sitting in my back porch at night, and I remember it because we have Christmas lights hanging up along our porch, and I remember the lights being on and sitting on the couch that's back there. And I remember talking to him like, are you, asking him questions, like being protective of you.
You were interviewing him
me.
Scoping him out, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember just staring at his hands, like like the way he was sitting with his elbows resting on his knees. And I remember seeing his hands, and I think he has 4 fingers. But he was a lot. He was thin, but he was a lot thicker, a lot more muscular than the Sarsahr men were. I don't remember his face so much. I kind of do. He has longer hair. It's much more, it's silver, and it's not as thin as their hair is. His is a lot thicker. But I remember interviewing him, and then I remember approving him.
I remember all that stuff too. It was very dreamlike for me. And when it all kind of came down and became really real for me was when I was in Europe. And that's when you asked Sarette to make that drawing for me, and you were so excited. You sent me a copy of it, and Avery was so protective of me. Remember, he got all mad at you know who.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And when I came back soon after was when he proposed.
Yeah, Avery said when you were talking about how he was protective of you, it was when he knew he was in love with you.
Ugh. And I gotta say something about that, because in my Silver Linings videos, I'm about to, I talk about I'm doing all this twinny stuff, and I just really want to point out when it comes to Avery that he is such a perfect example of how one can be attracted to nothing but energy, because I've never really laid my conscious eyes on him. I've only seen drawings, but he just gives off so much. I don't know. It truly is an energetic and soul connection from somewhere else, because not only do I feel love for him and from him, but it has a definite flavor. It does feel protective, and it does feel sexy. And so, there's just no counting for who you're going to be attracted to. It doesn't have anything to do with looks sometimes when it's a soul connection. So he's such a good example of how that works.
Now James is all up in my business. He's like standing right behind me. Because I think
James plays a part of this too, because I kind of felt like James and Avery were similar in that they're both good looking and sexy and kind of a little bad boyish. And
so Avery's wondering who James is. Can you see James? No, he can't. That's interesting. He's only listening. He's not looking at us.
Okay.
That's interesting. So by the way, for people that don't know the Sarsahr, some people have a hard time knowing that they're physical beings because you can channel them and stuff. Mm-hmm. But they have to like meditate and then tap into you. And some of them will astral project. So humans can do that, but we have to be either asleep or in a meditation. And that's the same thing for them. They have to either be asleep or in a deep meditation. For him right now, he says, "What are you doing right this second?" He's like, just chilling on my couch, relaxing. Okay. So he's in a meditative state and he's listening in, but he's not looking. He's not like remote viewing us.
Okay.
He said, because I don't need to in order to do all that. But I feel his energy over here, but really it's nowhere. He's not really anywhere.
Okay.
Anyway, for people that don't know, James is a Pleiadian that I had a relationship with before. And I know I said we wouldn't channel popular ETs, but
this is personal. This is different.
This is different because I actually know the dude. Anyway, what else with Avery? Oh, that's a good thing. Okay. The last video we did, I forgot to mention about something I wanted to explain with misinformation about the Sarsahr.
Okay.
And one of them is that they can't give you signs like how a spirit would. And like some people say that their spirit guide or whomever sent them a song on the radio. They felt it was from them. The Sarsahr can't do that unless they like actually call the radio and are like, "Can you play this song next?
I'd like to dedicate."
Right, because they're physical beings. They can't manipulate things like that. They can't manipulate an animal to come give you a sign like some spirits do. Like Eric from channeling Eric.
Dragonfly,
Yeah, he manipulates the insects and stuff. The Sarsahr can't do that. They're not spirit. So, and they're not like in a higher dimension to the point that they can do that. So just... if you think that it was from them, maybe a higher self version of them.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was going to say, if we can ask, our crossed over, loved ones for a sign. All the higher selves are there.
Yeah.
So I guess you could ask for like higher self Avery to come give me a sign, and that would count, but it's not Avery. It's the spirit of,
Yeah. It's the higher self of that being. It's not the physical incarnated. Because I asked Sam, I'm like, did you send me a blue jay? Because I felt like it came from him. And he's like, no. How would I do that?
Send you a damn bird. What's wrong with you?
He was like, how would I do that? I'm like, I don't know. And I was explaining to him, he's like, about spirit. And he's like, that's not how we know. We're not dead. I can't do that. And, but I feel like, I was like, maybe it's the higher self version of you. He's like, maybe. I'm like, or maybe I just associate blue jays with you. So,
There you go. Blue jays are him then. Higher self, Sammy J. Sammy J. Blue Jay. That's what it is. I just did that.
Well, actually, my spirit animal is a blue jay. And I went on a spirit quest, a vision quest. A vision quest. That's what they call it. And I figured out my spirit animal. It doesn't. You don't get to decide who your spirit animal is, and in my culture, your spirit animal doesn't change either. It comes to you, and reveals itself to you. When you're ready.
Pretty sure. I didn't choose this, but I'm just pretty sure mine is a sloth. I just think it is.
Mine is a blue jay. And so Sam likes to think, because in the Sarsahr culture, they think when you get married, you become one soul. So he thinks that's why I associate blue jays with him, because that's my spirit animal and we're the same soul. So I think of him.
Oh, he's a romantic, isn't he?
He is. It's cute, but that's not who it'd be weird. It's weird because it's usually the girl that's the romantic, but it's the other way around.
You got a little bit of that in you. Despite the belching and all that stuff, you got a little romantic side to you too.
I guess so.
I've seen it. Aw. So Avery, you have anything that we didn't ask that you want to share? Anything exciting or just whatever? But just, don't embarrass Heather, but any love messages for me.
He was saying, I thought for the group, but he's like, but you're being selfish. But he's joking. It's like, just for you.
Anything.
He says that, okay, that's interesting. What he wants to do is to start not using the device at a certain setting, to change the settings, so that you can see him. And so he said that he's going to start visiting you more often, and just to practice with what setting works best with you. So Sam explained it to me a little bit how it works, and you can correct me whenever I get it wrong. Is they have like certain settings on how strong they'll make it to calm you down. Mm-hmm. And he just automatically goes to the highest level because it's just easier that way, and they need to get you out quickly.
Right.
And a lot of the times for us, the way we react to it, I don't know why, but it makes we forget. It's not the device that makes us forget. Avery says, I don't think so. But there's some kind of correlation and correlation is not causation, by the way, for people that don't know that. Correlation between the device and us forgetting. Okay. But it's not the device directly affecting that loss of memory. I mean, sometimes they won't use the device at all with me, and I'll block it out because it's too much for me to handle. Yeah, they have, and I freaked the fuck out. Avery's like, really? We have? I'm like, yeah. I had a mental breakdown. I really did. So
yikes.
That's why they use the device, so you don't have mental breakdowns.
Yeah, please don't do that. Well, I've been doing my part over here, and I have been setting intentions for me to begin to be ready. So I've been doing my part. And
I think that's what made him think that you're ready, what made him want to try. So they're saying that different settings would be the perfect match. It would make it so you don't forget from both. He's saying, I don't think it's device. I think it's just your psyche. And I think it makes your psyche more balanced, I guess. That's the best way he can explain it.
Okay.
And so, because everybody's wavelength is different, because it's magnets, and in the device that controls it. I don't really know what that means.
I know. I'm just nodding like I do. Okay.
I don't know what he's talking about, but
the magnets and device.
it connects to, like, everybody's brain functions differently. That's a fact. And he said the settings that they set is for each person. Like, it has to be different for each person. So he's saying he hasn't figured out what would be the perfect one for you. And there's, like, he's making it seem like with the settings, there's 3 different modes he can choose from. So, like, out of the 3, one could go higher and the other one lower, and then one in between that. So he's like, I have to try and figure it out. It's going to be an experiment. And it's going to take a while.
All right.
And he said he's just scared that he's going to set it too low and it's going to freak you out.
Right. So, don't do any permanent damage. I don't want to stay catatonic forever.
And Sam was saying he wants to do the same thing with me. So I think they're just going to do this across the board with anyone who wants to have contact with. Sorry, that's my alarm.
So set your intentions. If you have a space love, then, you know, you let your higher self know that you are ready to start experiencing the next level of contact. Or
he said even if you're not romantically involved, he said even if you're just wanting that, we have to get used to you first. It's not going to happen right when we start making contact. He's like, because this is new for us too. Each human is like a new experience. Just because we're used to one human doesn't mean we're going to be used to the other one, another one we meet. So because you're all vastly different.
That's true.
And he's saying that they just have to get used to you first, and then they'll do that once they feel safe around you. They may never feel safe around you. You know, they may not come back to visit you, and that's happened before with some people. Not saying in Stardust, I'm just saying I've been in contact with these guys and with other people who've had contact with them before, even before Stardust was created. And some people say that they met him once and they never came back because they just didn't connect with that person well.
Well, I married mine. We're connected, babe. You gotta come get me.
He said, I can't run away even if I tried.
That's right. We're tethered.
Says I wouldn't want to.
No, me neither. I love that.
Okay, so
I'll ask him a question. Have you been following along with my drama? Are you proud of me? I'm doing lots of good work.
He says, I have been. He said, not with your show. He says he tries to catch up with it when he can. But he says he just doesn't have the time to watch the show. But it's like, I saw an image of him like holding the baby trying to watch a show, but it's hard for him.
Oh, God, he's so busy.
And he's like, yeah, I'm taking care of our baby.
I know. It's a lot of work. I know.
And he's saying that, but he taps into you. It's just easier that way. So he'll know when you're going through something rough because he can feel it. And so he'll tap in and try and console you. But you don't hear him, but you may just get a rush of relief, like some kind of calm. Or you feel suddenly like it'll be okay. Or you get like some kind of spike in like realization or something. And that's him trying to help you solve through issues.
Oh, thank you, baby. Oh, I call on him a lot because you really are my safe. You're my heart. I don't feel like I'll ever be betrayed by you in any way. I love you. Thank you.
He says, no problem, baby. He says, I'm here. He's like, so you can lean on me, even though it is about other guys. You know, none of them will ever be good enough. No one can ever compare to me. He's being a little cocky now. But he's being sincere about it. He's being sincere. He says, but you do what you need to do. You feel like you need to go through these men, then go through them, and I'll be here.
We're going to be like a badass power couple when I turn into the blue mistress.
And he says, he has an interesting theory. He's like, I don't think you're going to turn into a blue. He said, I think you'll be a Sarsahr when you come back.
Really?
He said,
why do you say that?
He said, I don't know. I just think that. Maybe because I want to think that. And
manifest, baby.
Yeah. He's like, I'm manifesting. He kind of took up your belief that you can manifest anything. And so he's like, I'm manifesting you becoming a Sarsahr and not anything else. It's like, not that I wouldn't want you to, but
why does that appeal to you? Just to make it easier or more comfortable, or
make it easier. It'd make things a little more complicated if you were something else. He's like, you could be a big Pleiadian woman.
Yeah. I don't know.
He was talking about how tall the woman can get.
I'll be anything you want me to be, baby.
He said I could get into that, like a woman taller than me. He's getting kinky now.
Save that for Nevada.
He said, wear some heels for me. Get taller than me. But they're like 7 feet. I don't think
I'll
there's
need
going to
some
be
stilts. I'm so short. I really am. Even when I sit next to like my friends and do those radio shows out here, I am always on a pillow. Not that we're in the same chair, but I'm on a pillow. I'm a little guy.
He finds that hilarious. He's just laughing.
I have, 1, 2, 3. I have 5 pillows under me right now.
Oh my God. I have no pillows.
That's funny. Okay, well,
let's
continue on.
Yeah. Did baby wake up?
Okay,
no. Okay. Sorry.
All right, well, I'm inviting you to stay, or I'm going to let you go to work if you choose to.
He says, I don't want to go to work. He says, I'll stay. Sam will understand. Okay. I'll say it was for Stardust.
That's right. Sorry, duty calls.
Duty calls.
All right, so what did you want to talk to James about?
Oh, sorry. Avery's like, who's James?
Right, I got to go back to that.
James, he kind of went away. I'll bring him back. Okay. So for people that don't know, James is a Pleiadian, and I have contact with the Pleiadians. And when they come to get you, there's always this guard that comes to retrieve you. It's some kind of like, I think of them as like your protector, your, just your guidance, whomever, to guide you. Your
guidance counselor?
Yeah, your guidance counselor, like someone to guide you onto the ship, right? And they stay with you.
Okay.
And James was my protector, and he would wake me up, and this started when I was really young. I was like 7 or 8 years old, something like that, maybe younger than that. And he's been with me all those years when I was growing up, and he would come get me and stay with me because he made me feel safe because I knew him so well. So he would stay with me throughout my contacts with the Pleiadians and stuff, just to be someone I'm familiar with. When I was around 17, actually when I was a teenager, his feelings for me started to become more romantic. And when I was 17, we had sex. And I didn't know this until years later. Like, the memories just came flashing back. And there was some kind of... It was a mistake for us to do that. And that hurts James' feelings because for him it wasn't a mistake. For me it was. It wasn't... After we had sex, I immediately regretted it. And I felt betrayed by him. Mm-hmm. Because he was supposed to be my protector. He wasn't supposed to be doing that with me. And I was... I felt like... Almost like he took advantage of me. But I know he didn't mean that,
After some time has passed a little bit, have you been able to put some perspective into it and try to see it through his eyes that it truly was an act of love from him? And does that give you some comfort?
It does. At first, when I first remembered it, it was all those feelings I had felt after the sex came back, and I had to go through it all over again. Mm-hmm. Feeling taken advantage of, felt like he didn't know his mm-hmm. place. That's like mm-hmm. a boss. That's like, I don't know. It's just like he abused his position. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is just like your human upbringing, because maybe that's like, because I know, aren't they like sexy creatures? Don't they just fuck a lot? And so maybe that's not such a big deal.
That's not true. He said that's not true. He said we have polygamy, but that doesn't mean we're having orgies. Doesn't mean we're having a shit ton of orgies all the time.
Hi, James.
Hi, Carrie. This is nice to see you again.
I know. Nice to feel you too.
Oh, James. He said, I'll feel something else. Mm-hmm. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't go me and then her. Avery's right there. You need to...
I know. This is
sit down.
Weird.
Sit down.
I'm going to say it. But Heather had this relationship, and before I met Avery, I wanted to have these kinds of experiences too. So she trans-channeled Fairy Girl for me. And I was like, do you think Heather would mind if I dated James? And she said, no, actually, it would probably make Heather feel more comfortable about it if, you did it too. Because then I don't even know how that could make you feel better. I really don't. I don't. But anyway, according to Fairy Girl, I did have some kind of exchange with James. James, do you know what happened? Do we have a date?
No, we don't.
Oh, it's too bad.
It says I'm off humans now.
Off humans. What are you on?
Other Pleiadian women.
So tell us what you think about, what Heather's saying, her emotions and how you feel about that. And what did you think then and what do you think now?
He says, at the time, I regretted stepping out of my position. He said, I regretted making her feel uncomfortable. He said, in the moment, though, he said, I was confused because in the moment she really wanted it, but it was afterward that she regretted it. And that was something I wasn't used to. I wasn't used to humans. I didn't know that they could regret something that they had wanted to do. Usually with Pleiadians, we know what we want to do, and we don't regret it afterward.
Oh.
And he said that I still don't regret having sex with her. But he says that I do regret ruining our relationship. He said I should have, he said the proper thing to do was to have stepped aside as her guide. Mm-hmm. When I started to develop these feelings for her, but I didn't because I didn't want to be, he said I didn't want to be away from her.
Aww.
And, but that's it. That's all he said.
So, because what Heather and I do, we like to, teach what we learn. Were you able, clearly you learned your own lesson, but were you able to share your information with others that humans do, in fact, change their mind at some point and their decisions can hurt them? Or is it just something that you learned on your own?
It's something I just learned on my own. I never really felt the need to tell others about it. I just said just be careful with humans just because they're so fragile with their mindset. And he said, I knew humans were fragile. And I hate it when they say that, but I guess we are compared to them, like psychologically, like mentally and emotionally. We're less.
We're a wreck. We're a mess.
We are, though. We're not really in touch with our feelings, and I guess that makes us weak. And he says, yes, that's true. He says, but I just warned others about them becoming involved with a human because of how sensitive they can be. They said that they can regret their decisions, and you need to give them time to think about a decision before you act on it. He said, I should have told Heather about my feelings first. Damn it, you said my name, and then it made me say my own name.
I've already said it. I gave up on that a year ago.
He said, I should have told Heather about my feelings for her, but I didn't. He said that I should have given her time to decide whether or not she wanted a relationship with me. But he's still confused about why I regretted it.
Do you know why? Are you still confused? I just, I'm from the outside looking in. I can just see me being a young girl, and it's just all so weird. Sex is weird when you're a young person and you're trying to figure shit out.
And I was going through a breakup at the time. So it might have been like a grief-stricken thing for me, and I might have regretted it. And,
okay.
Because it wasn't, I don't think it was really something I wanted. I think I was just really depressed.
Wanting some comfort. And
I was lonely. And I'm really, really sorry for doing that to you. Because I felt like that just hurt his feelings now. I just felt like his heart just got crushed a little bit. I'm really, really sorry. Oh, God, I'm a terrible person. I'm laughing because I use humor to deal with my issues, but I'm a piece of shit.
No. You're a young girl and you're still learning. And look at you here now getting an opportunity to, set things right. It's okay. You know what that whole thing was based in love. No matter what, it was still based in love.
That made James feel better, and he said thank you. For me, I don't think it was. I think mine was just grief. But
well, maybe it was, but you chose to allow somebody that you did care about comfort you, and even though the comfort wasn't the one that was right for you, it was still,
No.
Hearts were in the right place, if not organs.
Yeah, but he felt so bad. Like, when I regret it, because he didn't want to take advantage of me, but he's like, maybe I did. And I don't think you did. I think I just, it's one of those things where you have a one-night stand and you regret it later. It's not really anyone's fault, But he said it wasn't a one-night stand for him. So,
how are you feeling about Heather now? What do your heartstrings say?
oh God. He says, I'll love her. I love her. I'll always love her. But not in the same way I once could. He said it would hurt too much. It'd be too much. And he said, the fact that I'm here talking to you means I've healed quite a bit, because there was a point where I just couldn't be around you. But I do want to mention real quick, like, how I learned. I always thought Pleiadians were always peace. They never felt any sadness, any anger. And this is when I learned that they could. Because they are incarnated beings, so they do feel all the emotions we do. And it's just that they can let them go much quicker. It's like an instant and it goes away. They can let go much easier than we can. Okay. So it's more like, some people believe when they go up to a higher vibration, some people call it moving up dimensions. They think they'll get rid of all negative feelings ever. But that would defeat the purpose for why you're even here. So just be a spirit then if you're going to feel nothing but peace all the time.
Right.
So Pleiadians the higher you go doesn't mean the less negative feelings you feel. It means the easier it is to let go of them.
Okay, that makes total sense. It really does.
And so Pleiadians are at a higher vibration, and they're able to let go in like an instant. It's almost as if, like, did you even feel that? Were you even hurt?
That would be really hard to be in a relationship with somebody that'd be over it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and
still mad.
And for them that we're still hanging on 3 years later.
Yeah, I know. He's laughing about that. But he said this pain stayed with him for a while. And it was hard for him to shake because he just couldn't let go of me. So that's why it lingered for him.
Did you have any consequences from any higher ups?
He said yes, he did. He said, but at the same time, we're very accepting and very, what's that word that he just said? Like, not understanding. There we go. Equivalent to understanding. He didn't say that. He said a much bigger word, but I'm just going to say understanding. And he said that he did get, like, almost like demoted in a way. Just his title. He's still doing the same work he's doing. He's just not at a higher level that he was. He said, so there were reprimanded?
Reprimands, yeah. Reprimands.
I never say that word, but he said I got reprimanded. That's weird for me. But it's not like they hold it against him. You know, it's not like he was in trouble for very long. It was just this one meeting where they said, this is what you did, and here's your consequence. Okay. But they don't hold it against him. No one thinks less of him. Anything like that. So it's not like how when a human gets in trouble, you know. He said because we let go of things quickly, so they're not going to hold it against me for years or anything.
You know, one of my favorite stories to tell about James is, and it's such a small one, and it's not even specific to him, but I did learn it through him, was just how strange the lifespan was. Because don't you live for like 8,000 years, human years?
He said we live for a few thousand years, yes.
Yeah, and I remember saying, and I was joking, but I was like, why are you even fussing with Heather? Because she's like, lives as long as a butterfly does to you, which, you know, it's so short-lived. But that interested me so much. So I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to put you to a little mini challenge, is to give us a comparison of a similarity to humans and something that might surprise us that's very different.
This is how strongly you feel. Because we were talking about feelings, and that's one of the many things I find interesting about humans is how powerful your emotions can be. They can really overtake you entirely.
Really? Yeah.
And it can make it to the point that you can't even control your own actions. And it wasn't until after you calm down that you realize, I wouldn't have done this. But it's your powerful emotion that makes you do that. But Pleiadians don't do that. And he says that we really think through our emotions, and he said humans aren't accustomed to that, and that's one of your weaknesses is that. He says why you're so emotionally fragile. It's because you're not in touch with yourselves. There's no self-awareness. You're just taught about outside yourselves, which is important. Yeah. He said that's important too, but now it's time for you guys to learn more inwardly. He said it's weird. He said another thing about humans that's interesting is that most species, they evolve first on the inside before going on the outside, and that's a whole different learning curve. But you guys did the opposite. You guys went outside in. And
I can't even, on one level, I know what he's trying to say, but I can't even conceive of how I grow on the inside first. What the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? It's like, am I in a cave? What do you mean?
he's saying being more in touch with your emotions, knowing how you're feeling, controlling your emotions, allowing yourself to feel what you need to. A lot of humans will just suppress it down.
Right.
And he said that, and that's also something else that in correlation with people who have contact with extraterrestrials that don't remember. We're suppressing it. We're not dealing with it.
Okay.
For a lot of us. He's saying that your emotional health really ties into the mental health more so than the physical health does. And he says when you work on the emotional self, then the mental part of you will be much stronger as a result. You'll be able to handle things much better, experiences. You won't get post-traumatic stress disorder. You won't get, depression, anxiety, things like that. He says you have a lot of detachment disorders. You have a lot of attachment, and it deals with grief. It's just all trauma related mostly. And
gosh, that's true.
And he says that if you deal with your emotions, then you would have dealt with that mental health problem as well. He said some of you guys, it's just purely something wrong with the brain. There's nothing you can really do to fix that. You don't have the technology to do so. But most of the time, most times not. It's mostly emotional illness that presented itself in another way.
Mm-hmm.
So he said when you have more self-awareness about how you're feeling, you go throughout the day feeling thousands of emotions and you don't even stop to pause. There's a lot of pause and reflection, but he said the way your society is built, it's fast, 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 go, go, go. You don't have the time to pause and reflect. For us, we move at a gradual pace because with each experience we have, no matter how small it is, like picking up a pencil, how do we feel about this pencil? It's constant, but to you it may seem like we're asking ourselves 1,000 questions about something so small and it takes us forever to do something. He's like, that's not true because we're so used to it. It happens in an instant.
Okay.
Whereas for you, when you go outwardly and you're trying to make someone else happy or make someone else feel sad, or you're trying to manifest something to happen, that for you is so instant. You don't pause there to think, okay, how am I going to make this person feel happy? How am I going to make this happen? And you go through a step by step. You just know instantly steps 1, 2, 3, and so on to get there. He's saying, so making things happen outwardly, how you feel. He's saying, when I speak outwardly, I'm talking also physical health. How you appear outside. The way your body functions. A lot of you guys are getting more involved with like what you put in your bodies and how your body feels. And like, that's important too. But people aren't dealing with the emotional health of themselves. Yeah. And he said, and that's picking up more. So you're having more mental health awareness that he's noticed. And that's good. That's part of the transition.
Yeah. Well, I know many of our peers are on that, emotional wellness journey. It's part of it for us. Huge part.
So he said it's going to take practice. So it's going to take time for you to become more self-aware of how you are feeling and how you're dealing with your life experiences. Some people say, like, I just feel unhappy and I don't know why. He said, we get a lot of that. We hear a lot of that. And it's because you're just not listening to yourself because you're afraid of the answer. You're afraid of change.
Humans don't like change. How about you guys? Are you guys as fearful of change?
No. He says, we've learned that that's part of life and you adapt. He said, once you figure out that how powerful you are, and a lot of it's humans don't know how powerful they are, then you become less fearful of change. Because humans, he said, out of any species we've met, humans are the most adaptable. Like, the odds of you guys surviving, like, an apocalyptic situation, he's thinking, like, nukes and stuff, you guys would definitely survive. Like,
we're the cockroaches of the universe. Got it.
You have your physical body strength down pat. He's like, that is, like, the strongest suit you guys have. But he's like, it's like bronze over brains. But it's bronze over heart for you guys. You guys are tough on the outside, but really squishy and mushy on the inside. And he's like, and I'm not meaning like you're very soft. He's like, I'm saying you're just not emotionally evolved on the inside.
Let me ask this and relate this to my own kind of stuff I'm sort of teaching right now. I'm kind of over it, but still in it a little bit. Is that surrender I keep talking about. And when James, when you said something about the change, you guys are very comfortable with change. For us, it's a big ordeal to surrender what was and move on to what's next. Surrender is like a huge, huge spiritual stepping stone. It sounds like you guys don't even have that concept of surrender because you're just like, all right, what's next?
Yeah, he said we have concept of surrender in a different way. When it comes to more of our bodies changing. He said, but it's still not even that big of a deal, but compared to like how it is for you guys in comparison to how surrender is.
Okay.
What do you mean about your bodies? Like how it ages? No. Oh, it changing its vibration he's talking about.
Oh. Okay.
He said, because our species is getting higher and higher vibrationally.
Mm-hmm.
But, and we're not, some of us are, I guess, a little antsy about it in anticipation, not really scared.
Okay.
Just, it's something new, and that's something to be a little, antsy about.
Do you feel yourself changing? Sometimes I can feel when I've like reached another level and my whole body vibrates. Do you ever get that sort of thing?
It says it's very subtle for me, but I don't ever get scared of it. No, you say my body doesn't vibrate like that.
It's too bad.
He said, "Yeah, probably. It sounds fun."
All right. What else did you want to ask James? I could go on forever. Like what? Well,
he's talking about how when he speaks such a typical guy, showing how like he's moved on.
Really. Tell me what he looks like. Is he still gorgeous with his long surfer boy hair?
He found that cute. Yes, he is. He has his long brown hair, and he has I think he has blue eyes. But he's wearing the typical blue, like, jumpsuit kind of thing that Pleiadians wear. He's not super muscular. He's more of like a average human man would be. It's mostly his arms that are buff. Not really like, he doesn't have like abs or anything like that. But yeah,
are they taller than us?
Yeah, they can get taller than us. But there's a lot of Pleiadians who are just hybrids. So it just depends on which Pleiadian you're talking to.
Could you walk on Earth and be recognized? Would you blend in? That's what I mean.
He says, no, you would definitely see me. He says, I'm much too tall to be around humans. How tall are you? It says around 8 feet tall.
Oh!
That's tall. And he's like, I'm only getting taller. Will you die from that tall section? Can you die from that? Because I know the Sarsahr died from that.
Yeah, how do you die? When you cap out?
He says, no, I won't get that tall genetically. I just can't get that tall. He said, I might get to 8.5 feet, but that's as tall as I'm probably going to get.
How do you guys die? What's your general cause of death?
The body just doesn't function anymore.
Okay.
We can live longer because he said, everything correlates with each other. Your emotional, mental health. Which my humans, he said, on top of it just being a physical, like a genetic disposition. That's what he called it. He said your emotional, mental stability also plays a part in it. You go through a lot of rough lives, so the body wears down a lot easier from that wear and tear.
Really?
That's why there's a lot of people who are like really depressed probably die. But we end up killing ourselves because we're so fucking depressed, but our bodies are still living. He said that's a whole other story. They said there is a genetic disposition you guys have. It deals with your cells. He said that's a flaw in our bodies. Is that for a species that doesn't have those tiny cells, like their skin reproduces in a different way. He says, but you guys do have cells. And sometimes you guys, it doesn't, when they copy themselves or regenerate, it doesn't regenerate right, which is what leads to the wrinkles, I think. They're just getting older. He said, when you figure out how to solve that issue, you guys will live a lot longer and look younger. But you also
I'm working on that. I really am.
He said, because the cells, you're made up of these cells. Even everything right down to the brain is made up of these cells. So once you figure that out, then you'll be able to live much longer. no body could ever live forever. I mean, you could try to go for immortality, but you will eventually die of something.
This doesn't even appeal to me. I want to go to what's next.
Yeah. He said it doesn't appeal to us either. He said once you reach that point of immortality, you don't want to be immortal. For us...
The irony!
Yeah. He's like, you live for so long, you're finished. You know, there's not much to be gained anymore. He's saying that because life isn't about living forever. Because you're already living forever, it's a bit redundant. Why would you want to stay in the same vessel forever? It's like never buying a new car. Guys. Right. It's not like you're never going to get a new car. You got to trade it in for a newer model, you know? That's
right.
So that's a good example.
So, James, where do you live? Are you on a ship or a planet?
He's on a ship. And it gravitates above Earth.
Oh. What are you doing up there?
He says because we have different ships everywhere, but that's where the one I'm stationed at because I work with humans. So, of course, I'm going to be near Earth.
So how do you work with humans?
He says I'm a guide.
Okay, same thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay.
He says, but I don't guide Heather anymore. No. Plus, my husband wouldn't want that. Sam wouldn't be okay.
Okay.
My new guide. Yeah, I have a new guide. I think I named him Kyle. I named him such white fucking names.
White boy Kyle. I'm calling him white boy Kyle.
Dakota. I named him Dakota. I don't know. I'm thinking of like the whitest names I can think of. No offense to anybody. You know, I grew up in... Never mind. I won't get into that. Because I notice some people get offended when I say that is the whitest thing I've ever heard. And they're like, ugh.
It's just perspective. It's the whitest thing Heather's ever heard. It's okay if it's not your whitest thing.
You know, girls in like their Ugg boots. They're wearing shorts and Uggs, but a sweater. I'm like, why? Are you cold? Are you warm? What's going on? And
yes.
They come out with their Starbucks coffee. Oh my God. And I'm like, that is the whitest thing I've ever heard. Like I've ever seen their hair up in a messy bun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I belong to that club, but I'll let you know a little secret. I like the boots because they're like stuffed animals and soft. So it has nothing to do with fashion and everything to do with self-soothing.
You know, I'm over here like, you know, there's a drive-by last week and I had to hide behind a bush. You know, like that's where I grew up. So
behind the bush?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you hide behind, like, we couldn't get inside the house. There was a drive-by. You hide behind something.
I didn't hear the drive. I was thinking drive-through. I don't know why. I used to live in the hood, too. I know the gunshots. I remember them.
Yeah, and I work with students who do. So there's, like, students sometimes, oh, God, it's really bad.
It's flashing their gang signs during the recess.
Well, no. Some kids, like, one kid, his house got broken into, and his parents... The whole family was held at gunpoint, and the boy, he's only like 14. Him and his brother were locked up by like handcuffs against like a radiator or something. They thought like it was just all bad. Like that's the students I work with, students from that kind of background. That. So,
God, my kids are like marshmallows. They just could not even deal with any of that kind of stuff.
So they act up in school. You know, but then
they haven't dealt with their emotions.
They haven't dealt with their emotions, James. He says, right. He's like, that's terrible. I'm like, I know. It's like the Wild West down here, James.
Right. Oh, wow.
He's laughing. It is like the Wild West. I don't even think I was allowed to talk about that. Oh, well. Nobody knows where I live.
I don't know what school you're talking about. I don't know nothing. I don't know which drive-through restaurant you're referring to. All right, did we have like something else? Wasn't there something else we were gonna, or was that it? We had Avery and James Avery, and then
I think James talked about some really important things today. But that's not being, how can we be more in touch with our emotions, James? What's some advice you can give to people watching this? He says, take time to pause and reflect every day. He said, I know you can't do it every second, every day. So to begin the practice to make it easier is at the end of each day, take a moment to just, he said you can meditate. Well, that's not really realistic. People are not going to sit there and meditate. He said, okay, just take a second, write it down. Write down everything you felt. Try to remember everything you went through that day and write down how you felt about it. And instead of beating yourself up about things you regret, just say, okay, that was a mistake. I'll move on. Don't do that again.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm giving that advice to both of you.
I made a mistake. Let's move on. Own up to what you did. don't try to run away. He said a lot of the times the ego gets in the way because you don't want to be in the wrong. He said,
and don't deflect, don't blame. Own your shit, grow from it.
Yeah, he said a lot of people just blame it on something else. They say, oh, that wasn't my fault. But sometimes there's people who take all the blame and it's not their fault either. That deals with ego. You know, some people take all the blame because they want to be a martyr or because it's just easier that way. That's ego. When you get out of ego, you learn to accept everything as it is.
As it is, yes. And that doesn't mean you're like without compassion. Because sometimes it will be translated as that, oh, you just don't care. It's like, I'm just seeing it for what it actually is. I don't need to.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's saying just take a moment every day at the end of each day to do that. And he said, even if you can't do it each day, at the end of each week or end of each month, at least do something where you're reflecting. Okay. And as you do it more and more, it'll become easier to do it more often. And pretty soon you don't have to take those moments at the end of the day to reflect. You just do it automatically right when it happens. And it becomes an instant thing you do. So you have to put it into practice.
Do you?
Go.
Do you feel like you do that? I'm staring at the clouds all the time, processing, thinking, working shit out. How do you do about that? I feel like that's one of my jobs, actually. With my husband, you know, he's like, I'll bring home all the money. And I'm like, yeah, well, I sit and stare at the clouds. Because I feel like it's a very valid part of my work.
Yeah, I feel like I am in touch with my emotions. And when I feel angry, I know I'm feeling angry. So like, say I'm working with one of the students, I'm teaching a class, and the kids are just fucking pissing me off, which is more often than not. And I have to give myself a second to like, why am I angry? Just so I can be calm enough to deal with them. You know, I have to process my emotions or I'm just going to lash out and it's not going to help anybody. So that forces me.
Because it is true. We are like, we can very much be a product of our emotions, and I think that's one of the reasons that the Sarsahr were so cautious with us at first, because if we get super emotional, we could flail.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's all of it, but that may have been a part of it.
It is. It is part of why they are a little cautious around even the people they know, because they know that our emotions can get the best of us and we can't control ourselves. Like people black out from anger and they don't know what they did.
Right.
It's like that. You black out from your sadness. You do something out of anger, out of sadness, or even out of happiness. You could be super.
You
could be super happy and excited to run over to hug them. To them, you could hurt them if you do that. So that's why they're a little. They know you're excited to meet them, but they're like, we got to be careful.
Oh, well, that was my experience with Sam. I was like, I want to hug you. And he's like, oh, no, I don't want a hug from you. And I was, so I really wasn't offended, but a little bit, I was like, but I understand. I was like, who wouldn't want a hug from me?
Oh, God, James. James like, you can hug me.
You are such a flirt still, you flirt.
But he's talking about, he has like 2 women in his life right now. They have polygamy and stuff. He's like, he's seeing 2 women. It's like kind of like a dating thing. He's testing them out. Have you fucked them yet? No. I fucked them. Well, that's only the good part. He says, I'm not in love with them. Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, what else we got? We've been going for like an hour. Did you know that?
Oh, shit.
I know.
I haven't shown you my hair, I have a little thing in my hair.
Show me your thing.
Okay. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Ah, look at you. You're all native eagle girl. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I went to a festival in my town, and there was a man there, a native man, he made all his bead work himself. It takes forever. And he had all this, like, things he made out of leather and stuff. So, he probably went hunting and did everything himself. Because everything was expensive, but you could tell he handmade everything. And I look white as fuck. People don't think I'm native. And it's oftentimes the white natives are the most native of all. Because we have, feel the need to prove a point.
Right! I promise I'm native. Let me show you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple stories about that. But this man kept talking about, in my culture, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and finally at the end, I asked him, I'm like, these feathers, like he had something with feather. I was like, these aren't real feathers, are they? Because you're not allowed to sell eagle and hawk feathers. It's illegal. Only people who are allowed to own feathers like that are native people for their religious needs. And he's like, no, because in our culture it's disrespectful. It's used for ceremonial purposes. I know. I said, I know. He's like, those are pheasant feathers. I'm like, okay, that's what I was just asking. And he's like, do you want a feather? And I was like, no, you have to earn your feathers.
Right.
And I took him back a bit. I'm like, that's what my father said. You have to earn your feathers. You can't just go out and buy your feathers. He's like, are you native? I'm like, yeah, I'm Yaqui. And then I went into how we're really called Hiak, but the white people call us Yaqui because I guess that's easier. I don't know. And
phonetically, it looks easier.
And he said, I'm Apache. He said, not really. I'm Indi. He said something about Indi. And he said, but the white people call us Apache. And I'm like, yeah. So we like kind of bonded over how white people call us something else entirely.
Oh, those whiteys.
And
you know who it was?
What?
It was that girl with the Ugg boots at Starbucks with the messy bun.
I know. And so he gave me this at a cheaper price, but I still was like,
we've been dealing.
I'm like, I have to pay you for your time, at least the resources that you use.
Right.
But yeah, I'm really happy about it. I also, but there's some things that's unique to his, because each tribe's different. Mm-hmm. Their own culture, they have their own language, so to lump us all together as one is very disrespectful. And so he was telling me about how they hang up bows and arrows above the doors, and that's just, it's protection. So when you leave the house, you'll be guided and protected, and when you come home, anything you picked up throughout the day is left at the door. It's not allowed to come into your house. I thought that was neat. But speaking of this white woman at the store, I was wearing the moccasins that the elders of my tribe made, and I walked around the grocery store, and this white woman comes up to me, and she's like, you can't wear those. That's disrespectful. It's cultural appropriation. And I'm like, honey, I am native. And she says, you don't look native. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't fit your perspective of what a native should look like.
Let me get my headdress on.
Yeah, let me get my headdress. Yeah, I'm like, let me get my ceremonial dresses on for you.
How? Just throw that shit at her.
How?
I speak Indian. I speak cartoon Indian.
Cartoon how? That's not. Yeah, so. God.
Yeah, she's yucky. Leave my sissy alone.
So I'm just like, okay, I get that you wanted to be protective, but like, it's just, at the same time, it was a little racist on her part to just assume that natives looked a certain way, and I didn't look the part, so I must not be one, Yeah. So it was like, she meant well, but then at the same time, it was kind of like,
Go pick on someone that's really actually being disrespectful, because I'm not.
Right.
I'm allowed. I'm in the club.
And somebody who's wearing moccasins at the store, it's not disrespectful. Moccasins were made to be worn as shoes. That's
they're
not
fucking
disrespectful.
shoes. That's what I was thinking, but I had my little lip zipped.
Like, they're shoes. It doesn't matter if you're white, brown, purple, green. You can wear moccasins. It's when you're wearing around the headdress or like makeup or whatever, and you're not part of a native culture, and you're just wearing it because it looks cute, and you're going to Coachella or something. That's when it's disrespectful. That's when that's cultural appropriation. Right. But we don't mind if you wear a shit. In fact, you probably bought it from a native who needed the money.
Right! Find the silver linings.
Anyway. But I wanted to talk about aliens and native culture and how they correlate. And
I love that stuff too. We'll have to
do another video about that. Anyway, so enough of story time. We were about an hour into a video. Hopefully this video didn't,
Hopefully it recorded properly.
Yeah. If it didn't, I'm really sorry. I'm going to post random pictures in there just to make you laugh while you're watching. That'd be funny.
Almost hope it failed.
And we have the event coming up in 2 weeks. So
wow!
It's the weekend after Easter. And I'm really excited. And I know the Sarsahr are excited. Sam's more excited to see me than anything else. We really just go out there to just look for aliens. Um, but I also wanted to say this real quick. Some things in Stardust, some people like comment to me about like some things they're concerned about that some people post, and I'm like, I don't endorse anything that anyone posts in Stardust. Just want to put that out there. Like, just because someone posted it in Stardust doesn't mean I agree with it or that
Right.
I'm fully supportive of this person. So I just
And
want
it also doesn't mean that you have any interest in setting them straight with your own views, because everybody's entitled to have their own realities, their own perceptions, their own experiences.
Exactly. That's why I don't say anything, because I'm like, who am I to tell? Who am I to say anything, you know? Someone can just as easily say that about my experiences. So
I really like that you know, you are very passionate and very protective of the Sarsahr, but at the same time, you don't push. I am the only one that's right.
Right.
I don't really think anybody has so far. I don't really pay attention too much, but you know, as far as that goes, it seems fairly respectful, because there are different viewpoints and there are different stories and different ways of seeing things. So it's just how humans are.
Right. Exactly. But that was only one concern I wanted to say. Also, let's see what else. But yeah, if you wanted to buy a ticket for the event, you have a week to do that. The last day to buy a ticket is Friday.
Whoa, hurry up, you guys. Come to the party. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
If you don't go, that's just a pizza for me, and nobody wants that. So come on down.
Nobody wants to eat all the pizza.
I sort of would. That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, so the ticket is $150 for 3 days, which I think is a good price, because a lot of
bargain.
You know, a lot of spiritual type of events charge like $300 for just 1 day, and ours is for 3 days, and we cover your food on your dinner on Friday, and breakfast and lunch on Saturday and Sunday. So if you're staying at the house and you already paid for a sleeping spot, the only thing you have to worry about really is getting there and then paying for your dinner for 2 days. And
however, there may be a plan with that too. So don't go to the restaurant till you talk to us. Talk to Sarah.
Right. So we just, you know, we wanted to make it as cheap as possible, because we wanted as much people to come as possible. But we also needed to cover our expenses on, you know, renting out the house and paying for people's foods and things like that. That's the reason why
we had to get a car. We had to get out there, you know, airfare. So we needed to make sure we get out there too.
Yeah. So that's one reason why we charge, and it's really cheap, because we only need so much money in order to make that. So that's why we make it really cheap. Plus, I wanted people to be able to go. And I know it's out in the middle of nowhere, but the reason why it's
great.
It's great because it makes the aliens, especially Sarsahr. I don't know if any other extraterrestrials are going to be out there, but they feel safer about coming in and being around us because it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. But let me reiterate again what a good deal that is. You know how much we used to charge for Shiny? I would charge $450 for the weekend. I would, however, give a discount of $25 per extra day. So if you bought the 3 days, and knock it down to $375. But that was $375 as opposed to $150. And so
I wouldn't go, honestly.
I know.
I can't afford that.
I wouldn't go either. I got in for free though.
I wouldn't be able to afford that. So I charge as much as I would be able to go. So someone like me could go. Someone like a college student or someone who just out of college could be able to afford. So
you know what though? I got to tell you that when I first started these journeys, this whole thing, the first one I went to was Jamie Butler's Weekend of Fucking Enlightenment out in Atlanta. And I didn't have a dime to my name, but if that will is there enough, the universe will find a way to get you there. Mm-hmm. So don't forget the power of manifestation and positive thoughts. So, I mean, all that stuff helps.
Yeah.
Start thinking.
Yeah, and if you're worried about a ride, if you live in California and it's on the way to Vegas, I don't mind picking you up on the way. I probably don't have any more room to carry any more people once we get into Vegas. We're going to have to get a ride from Vegas to the house from someone else.
I think that's working though. We've got a lot of cars and it's going to be great. Okay, I'm going to zip us up. We're going too long.
That's what she said.
I wish I could say that.
Also, I'm doing a class this summer. I keep forgetting.
Tell me about your class.
So once school's over, it'll be summer break, and I need to pay my bills somehow during that summer vacation. So I'm going to be doing a class, and it's going to be I'm still putting it together. I still need some inspiration, but it's going to be like an 8-week long kind of a boot camp. And channeling, learning to channel is so much more than just learning to channel. It's about self-love, learning your self-worth. It's a journey. It's my ancestors said it's like a shamanistic journey. So it's kind of like I'm guiding you through a spiritual growth. I guess the new age, yeah, the more new age term, which I don't like, is like helping you with ascension or blah, blah, blah. So I'm just guiding you through it. I'm going to be there to help you with all the main highlights of it, but it's really you that's doing the growing. I'm just there to hold your hand through it and teach you the channeling and the things like that. But it really is like a self-growth kind of thing. I'm helping you through a journey. And I'm working with someone in the group who volunteered to make pendulums for the class for free. So when you sign up for the class, you will have the tools you need for the class, which is why it's probably going to cost a lot because I got to ship it out to you and pay for those supplies. So when you sign up for the class, we're going to be going over like a section where we go over the divination tools like pendulums and tarot cards. So you guys are going to get your own pendulum and a starter tarot card deck.
Cool. Yeah. That's cool. Mm-hmm. And I've already seen people have some interest in that class. So I think you're going to have some good success with that.
And I'm going to cap it at only 20 people. Okay. So, yeah.
Wow. Proud of you. I don't have any initiative or to... Somebody said, here, do this. Here's all the information and do it. I would, but it's the inventing. It's the lesson planning. I can't do that part.
I am so excited because it's something my ancestors really wanted me to do. And I'm going to teach it more of like from a native, like my tribe's background.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. That's cool.
And so you'll be guided through me. I'm not a master. I don't like to say that I am because there's always room for growth. That's
absolutely true.
Nobody's done growing. So I'm no way a master.
I'll make that same claim with my healing. Anybody can do it, and I'm not a master, but I have had some experiences.
Yeah. So I would really be honored if anyone would like to go through I don't want to call it a shamanistic journey because a shaman is not really something you can get certified in. It's not a class you take. It's a journey you do throughout your life. So I'll help you through parts of it, I guess.
All right. Sign up.
Yeah.
Sign up on the PayPal link.
Well, I don't have it set up yet, but I will let you know when it is set up. So that's in the works. Okay. But anyway, I'm done talking.
Okay, sissy pants. I'm going to go relax. I've been busy all morning with brats and doctors and feeding and all that stuff. I'm going to go do some cloud staring.
Okay. I'm going to make
lunch.
You. I love you too.
Oh, yeah, you got to make a big old lunch, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have fun with all them boys.
Yeah, I got a bunch of boys over at the house rebuilding my fence, so I got lots to stare at.
Oh, you're going to stare at clouds, you're going to stare at boys. I am in the wrong state. All right, baby girl. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you soon, too, okay?
Okay. All right.
Okay, bye, Avery. Bye, James. I love you, Avery.
I think you're right.
See you guys later. That's okay. He'll watch it later on.
Okay.
Okay. I love you. Bye.
Bye.